What's holding this music media channel back? My name is Diane. It's channel audit time. This is where we go over the good, the bad, the ugly of a channel for a creator in hopes of helping them break out of their rut and grow to the next level. This is always done with the intention of coming from a good place, helping them grow, even if I sound a little bit mean. Honesty is the best policy. So today we are looking at Darren's EDM News channel. It's a NorCal EDM News. We're going to be putting this up against my 5-point framework for doing these channel audits. Each step will be revealed as we go. So we're going to start with number 1, the appearance of the channel. And basically this is all about, does it pass the at a glance test? So when someone lands on your channel, you have less than a second to communicate what this is, why they should care, and what's in it for them, really, because that's all any person ever cares about on YouTube is WIIFM, what's in it for me. So when I land on this channel, I see, that it's okay. It looks like it's some conversations for independent electronic artists. Not 100% sure what that is. I see Darren and his lovely wife, Patty. Of course, as a stranger, I wouldn't know that's Patty. And I see the logo, and the NorCal EDM News is probably the thing that really clues me in to what this channel is about. Now, if I know what EDM stands for, I know instantly, what this is. If I've never heard the term EDM, I don't know, and I may not care, and I may just bounce right away. So for beginners to this genre of music, they may not get it. The first time I saw it, I had to go Google it. So just be aware that it is a good short name, and what's great is he's got his name and his @ handle. They match, so that's fantastic for branding. So that's good. I love, love, love his profile picture there. I think it's fabulous looking, and he's got this whole branded coloration thing going, which is great. The purple and the magenta, that's all good. Going back to this channel banner though, hold on, let me move these comments out of the way because they're distracting. Okay, so going back to this channel banner, I think it's a good start. What I like about it is that he's got a sort of a tagline value proposition right there up top that gives me some indication about what it is, but I think it could be even clearer. The other thing I'm not quite a fan of is he's got this logo over to the left that repeats the name that's already right here. And this banner and this name show up all over YouTube. It's also repeated here, but that's okay. Now I've seen it 3 times, my eyes are glazing over and I'm ready to bounce because why are you wasting my time? I mean, viewers are that heartless. So I would actually recommend that he take this out. I know he loves it, but I would take it out, and I would probably hone this down a little bit more because it's getting to the point where it's almost too many words. Again, people are just looking at a glance. Maybe it's conversations and weekly insights for, independent electronic artists and fans, perhaps, because this is also a channel for the fans. He has a little bit of a twofer audience going on there, and I would include the fans. And I think it's great that he has his picture here, and probably this was taken at an event, but honestly, this channel art, a picture is worth 1,000 words, right? This is his chance to sell the dream at a glance, because again, people are just looking, do I care? No. If they don't get it right away, they're going to leave. I would suggest that he just maybe try to tighten up this wording here, move it over, and sell the dream across the banner, where maybe it's, maybe it's some kind of, obviously it's sort of a big music event in the background, but not too distracting in his color palette. And it kind of is maybe it goes under the words and it fades out so it doesn't compete with the words. And then over here, maybe he's got himself forward, like he needs to be the forward person in this picture because he is the host of this show. So far, his wife, who is very well known in the community that he's catering to, so it's good that she's there, but she's not on the channel. So the way I would present it is that I would put, Darren in the front, and maybe Patty's just kind of like right behind him, and maybe there's some other people behind them, at these events they go to, almost like it's a selfie at an event or something, where Darren's the primary, Patty's the secondary, because she may appear. In fact, she does sometimes appear off camera, and they're doing lives, and then some other people. So that would be a way to kind of create a picture where it's like, okay, this is this music festival, and these are the fans of the music festival, and here's the value, tagline of clearly what's it about and who's it for. And that's how I would kind of recommend doing that. Hold on, I got to get rid of some of these windows here. I don't have a very big screen. Okay, so appearance. We're still on appearance. Okay. The other thing that people look at if they're still interested is they're going to click the more button, and they're going to say, well, what's this channel really about? This assumes they're interested. They want to know more. And Darren's done a nice job here of kind of outlining what it's about. So conversation-driven platform, documenting the people behind the electronic music, independent artists, building something on a roadmap. Okay, that's great. So most EDM focuses on this other thing. So I like how he differentiates himself. I would have probably put this up here. I typically recommend that this be no longer than 4 paragraphs. And the first paragraph is pretty much you do what for who, so that benefit they receive. It's your value proposition right up at the top, because look at this. You've got these valuable characters. I think there's like 82 or some odd characters like that. You want that to show before it truncates off. So all the most important words should be up here. I do what for who, so that benefit they receive. And then they click more. So the first paragraph is that. The second paragraph is what you can expect to get from this channel, X, Y, Z, A, B, and C. And then, the third paragraph, typically I recommend that you make a couple, 3 sentences about yourself as the creator to put that human touch on there. Darren can introduce himself and Patty, and we've been going to these events for 15 years or whatever it's been. And just real simple, no big long, chapter. It can just be 2 to 3 sentences. But especially in the AI world we live in, you really want to put that human touch on there. And then the last line is typically a call to action, often to subscribe to, join the journey or stay updated or whatever. Or if you have an email list, which I actually highly recommend that every creator who's serious about their work create an email list, because should something happen to your channel, God forbid, you'll still have all those contacts, and you can keep in contact with the people who've been watching you. So highly recommend a call to action to get a free lead magnet, something of value. Maybe it's the summer festival season, click here to get it. And then this link is ideally going to your email collection to get that. Okay, so we're still on 1 at a glance, but it's so important. That's why I spend a lot of time here. Okay, so what I like here also is that Darren is using his channel trailer space there. Okay, so he's using his channel trailer space. I would say this is a little bit long. Ideally, this video is a minute, maybe it's a minute and 30 seconds, but it's a minute, and it basically auto plays when people land on the channel. So, if people get sucked into the story, they will let it play, and it's basically your chance to pitch them, but you've got to do it in the right way. You've got to draw them into your drama as a human being, first of all, with a really good hook, and then maybe a little quick story of transformation that led to the genesis of this channel. And then, here's what you're going to get and why it matters, and subscribe, right? Okay. So now here is some valuable real estate that Darren's not really using effectively. I mean, it's good that he's got, the trailer, but this needs to be a really compelling title. And it's basically something along the lines that pulls from this of, what this is and why you should care. It's just a title that just makes me want to know more about everything you're doing on this channel. And then this is the description of the video right here. And what you want to do with this very valuable space, because look at all this space here, is you want to give those 2 to 3 sentences about what people are going to get from this channel. Because again, WIIFM, what's in it for me, that's all that matters. So, and they're not all going to click here to read it. So I would just do those 2 to 3 sentences about what they're going to get. White space, make a white space, and then the last line here is a call to action, which is either to subscribe, or even better, to get them on your email list, to get the free thing, to get on the email list so that you can stay in contact with them no matter what happens on YouTube. Now, moving down, I like the simplicity of this page. You should think of this channel homepage as your landing page. It used to be years ago, people would put every freaking playlist that they ever had on this channel because who knows what people would want. Well, people are overwhelmed. So really, you just want to minimize what's on this channel to what really matters. So he's chosen to do his latest videos, which as a news channel, that makes sense. Sometimes your most popular videos make more sense when you're trying to show your credibility as a creator with your biggest performing videos up front. Maybe you're trying to get sponsors or whatever. But I think for him, for the news, this makes sense. Now, he's also gone ahead and made a playlist of the scene report, which is his news format. And that's all right here. And now that I'm looking at this, there are so many of these that are the same. It's like, why? In fact, these are the same. Why bother having this playlist here? If I would just put this one here, just make this one the top one. It's the freshest. It comes out every week. It's the one to put at the top. You want to put your most important playlist at the top. And then secondarily, he has a secondary kind of content, which we're going to get into. It's more of a long form interview content. I would make that content his second playlist. What he's done is, whoops, he has come down here and he has sort of, these are his 3 playlists. He used to have more, but I told him it was too much. Anyway, so this is not as effective. This is really not as effective. People don't typically come in here and pick a playlist and, cold sight unseen without knowing you. But they will look at a playlist that's detailed out. And what's good is he's got a good title. He's got a good description of what's happening here. So it gives me a reason to know why I should bother even looking at this playlist. So that's really, really good. But yeah, I would get rid of this. You don't need it on the homepage because you have a whole tab for that. This live streams, this would probably be the secondary, when he buffs this out, when he fills this out, this would probably be the second playlist, but I would position it differently. I would make it a playlist of his long form podcast interviews to keep them kind of separate. And then he's also got a short shelf here, which is fine. Shorts, if you're playing with shorts, I do recommend that you can put them on the bottom. If they matter to you, put them on. If they don't matter to you, don't put them on. But sometimes they can make a very nice visual anchor because they're very heavy. I think for him, it's fine to keep them here to show that he's playing in that space. The other thing he's got here, and I almost never recommend people do that, is other creators that he's aligned with or he follows. Normally, I don't recommend that you promote other people on your homepage because you're really trying to suck people into your world and get them to subscribe to you and know, like, and trust you. And this is all distraction. However, 2 of these are his, so I get it. And then these guys, he's got a really good relationship with. And he's trying to build a community around this electronic dance music scene. So for him, he might be one of the ones where, make an exception. This is a good use of space because people want to be a part of his community. Okay, so that is the first impressions. That was one. The rest of them won't take so long, I promise. But pretty much that's what's going through people's minds when they land on a channel homepage and they want to, decide, do I stay or do I go? The next thing we're going to look at is the content strategy. Is there one? Is pretty much the question here. Is there a content strategy? So I'm moving over to his videos tab to take a look at that. And let's see what's going on here now. I have been working with Darren for a little bit. So his thumbnails, I have to say, have come a long way. They're getting a lot simpler. They used to be really cluttered and hard to figure out. The lower you go on his page, the more you start to see a little bit of the old style. Like it was all this kind of stuff. It was busy, busy, busy. It was overwhelming. This one is almost there. This one's a little busy, but as you can see, he is getting better and better with these thumbnails. So this one is fantastic because it's using the leading lines, and the leading lines kind of really what I would do is I would move this sabotaged probably more over to this area so that the leading lines of the car and the road and the grapes are leading more to that word right here. And also you want kind of that asymmetrical balance. All the weight is over here. And so visually it's a little, and normally I don't like a lot of words on a thumbnail, but Live Nation is very key to, what happened here. And that's something when people glance at, they'll get it. So yeah, and this one is a little bit more, I don't really know what it is. And this video itself turned out to be an interview with a bunch of local people on the Sacramento scene. And it's kind of a story of how everyone worked together to get this amazing headliner. but this thumbnail doesn't really reflect that. And so this one may not be as effective as some of the others. But yeah, thumbnails, titles, I mean, it's coming along. They're definitely coming along. The news ones are kind of easy to figure out because basically the format is A, B, and C happened. And so this is typical of news channels, is they'll just kind of do it that way, and that works. People kind of click on those keywords. Otherwise, you want to be titling for the most salacious news item out there. So if there's a scandal like this one was great. So there was some kind of rental drama at the Gorge for a music event, and he led with the drama title, because that always works. YouTube loves drama. And then, of course, the Live Nation verdict and some other things in here. So for a news channel, I think this really works. So the thing about this strategy, though, that kind of I think needs work is that this videos tab, you need to think about this as a show. It says videos, but it's really a show. And so when you go to this tab, people are looking for consistency. And when you have one video that's 45 minutes and it's an interview format, and then one video that's 16 minutes and it's a news format, and then another news format, and then you have sort of a special report on a thing, and then you've got kind of, an issue in the space, the DJ space. And when you have all these different kinds of formats, it confuses the algorithm, but the algorithm is the viewer. It confuses the viewer. YouTube thrives on viewers getting sucked into a show that they really enjoy and that they watch every week. I mean, ideally, if you're trying to grow a channel, weekly is rules are made to be broken, but it's a good rule of thumb to start building that consistency that people get used to. It's really about training the viewer. YouTube doesn't care, but you want to train the viewer to expect your news release to come out every Tuesday or Monday or Wednesday or whatever the day is. They know that, oh, midday, he's going to come out with this report. I can't wait to see what's happening this week. And if it's the same format, it's 15 minutes, you've got the beginning and the middle and the end, or the 3 segments or whatever, people get used to that and they're comfortable with it, and they're going to tune into it every week. But when you mix it up with these long form interviews and all these other things, it's going to confuse the viewer. And if they're not watching every week, then that's a signal to YouTube that, oh, well, he's not keeping attention, so maybe I'll show them something else. Okay. YouTube is like a campfire. You got to put a stick on, and at the beginning, it's not going to burn very well, and you got to baby it, and you got to put another little stick on and another little stick on. And they have to be little sticks. They can't be these giant sticks, or you're going to crush it. So for this channel, I would definitely recommend on this videos tab, he should lean into his news format, because that is easier to produce and it's easier for new viewers to grok 15 minutes versus 45. And yeah, and just keep working on those titles and thumbnails. Let's look at the video structure a little bit here, because yeah, okay, so this was his, hold on, let me sort this for you. I was going to show you the most popular. I always look to see what's the most popular. Yeah, when you sort by most popular, you can see what's hitting for the channel, which also drives the content strategy. So this is by far his most popular video, and this is a fairly new channel. I think he's only a few months old. So obviously the Gorge, the Amphitheater, that's a big topic for him. This one also did really well. This one also did really well. So clearly the Gorge Amphitheater is a big topic for him, and this one as well. Now, his whole channel is not about the Gorge or the Amphitheater. It's about the EDM music scene, which often goes there. But he can use this topic to draw new people into his world and expose them to what it is he's doing. Okay, and then yeah, this one was above and beyond. That's like, it's kind of the what do I call it? The anchor group here. Going to the Shoreline Amphitheater. So this is the first non-Gorge thing that did well, and then this one's a local event that did well. So he is starting to move beyond the Gorge, which is good. And we will just keep working on tapping that Gorge bucket to bring people in, but also trying to get those people to convert to also the more Northern California regional content as well. Okay, so what do you do with this long form content? We're going to get back to that in a minute, but let's go look at so this was his most popular video. He did a really good short, fast hook on this one.
This answers
starting with the drama.
Hear every burp, every
Hopefully you
fart,
can hear
every sound.
So what he's doing is he's using the most dramatic clips where she reacts to something and it's like, oh my God, what is he talking about?
Every snoring.
Which is a good way to start this kind of an interview format. You just do the bam, bam, bam of the exciting bits to draw the audience in and make them wonder.
3 different directions with 3.
What am I missing, right? Okay, and then the whole thing is, this whole thing is pretty much a recorded interview, which he overlaid with some B-roll, and it did really, really well. Okay, but it is 40 minutes. So the question is, fine, he's got these two kinds of content. He's got these short news pieces and he's got these longer podcast pieces. What do you do with the longer pieces? And I'm going to skip right to the live here and suggest that he put his long form interviews, his podcast style content into the live tab. Well, how do you do that? There's a couple ways. You either go live immediately, okay, or you pre-record the interview and you add your B-roll edits, and then once it's done, you send it to live. So you can send a recorded video to a live stream, which is another way to do it. And that's what I'd recommend he do, because people who watch live streams will watch for a long time. YouTube, when it sees a video in the lives tab, it's going to treat it differently than a video that it sees in the shorts tab. So if you have not the shorts tab, the videos tab. So if you have viewers who are watching your 15-minute content here, right? And then, you put a 40-minute piece here, it's going to drag this whole thing down. You walk into the pub, you want your beer on Friday night, you go in and they're serving coffee. You're like, what the heck? Where's my beer? People want what they want under this videos tab. But if you send the long form stuff to this lives tab where they're used to sitting down with, a coffee for 2 hours, then they're going to be happy. Okay, so that's what I would recommend he do on this channel to kind of resolve the two issues that he's got. Normally podcasts are their own channel. That's a whole nother thing. I don't even want to get into it. This video is getting long already. But yeah, that's what I would recommend. Going back to sort of, so his content strategy, that's how I would do his content strategy. His recent videos, I would definitely keep working with him on his hooks. His hooks used to be really long and drawn out. Darren, he's kind of a friend, so I know things. Darren, I love you. His hooks used to be long and drawn out, but we're definitely getting them tightened up and shorter, and that's showing up in his analytics, which is fantastic. And so we would just keep working on that. It's really going to be all about the ideas, finding the best news possible to bring the people in, and keeping those hooks short, keeping those titles and thumbnails clickable so that people get in, they watch the whole thing, and doing the podcasts, which are more difficult anyway, to kind of get the artists all lined up, because it's like herding cats. Those can go out as needed under the live stream tab, and then those two areas are kind of separated and YouTube knows what it's doing. And as for shorts, we're just gonna, I would say he's played with them. Let's hold off on that for now, because you really kind of need to focus on one thing at a time on this platform before you start worrying about the next thing. Okay, yeah, and I don't know if I said this, but I should say it, long form is the heart and soul of YouTube. This is where you get the people to know, like, and trust you. So I would definitely, generally, when it comes to coaching, I coach people who want to focus here. Yes, there are shorts channels. Yes, there are live channels. Those are different animals. I tend to focus on creators who are looking to get people to know, like, and trust them via the long form videos on demand here on this channel. Okay, and by the way, if you would like to be audited like this, there's a link down below to apply, and yeah, would be happy to take a look. Okay, so we are moving on to the next stage of this framework, 3, which is the, hold on, where's my cheat sheet? The overall presence. Okay, the overall presence. And I've kind of dipped into this a little bit in this previous section with the strategy, but what is his overall presence on the channel, right? So is he doing long form? Is he doing shorts? Is he doing live? We've kind of talked about that already. He is doing oh, there's my cheat sheet. He is doing a podcast. And you really can't control what YouTube does here under this tab. If you have a podcast, you designated a podcast, which is advantageous for additional, distribution on the platform, and then this will show up here and you really can't do anything else about it. So that's fine. He has designated his long form interviews as podcasts, which is great. And he is using the podcast format when those are edited, which is also great. So that's good. And we did touch on playlists already a little bit. He's got 3 of them. You don't want to have too many playlists. It's just too much for a user or a viewer to decide. If they want to see your playlist, they'll come look. You know, if you see more than 5 or 8, they just their eyes glaze over, they move on, and they might bounce. So in terms of presence, the one thing that is definitely missing on his channel that I think is a huge omission is the community tab. He is not taking advantage of the community tab. Now, I know he's got a lot going on, and so I understand one step at a time, but I would put this high on the list of things to do, is to get the community tab going. Specifically, I would use the poll feature of this community tab. Polls are a secret weapon of golden goodness that so many creators don't take advantage of on this platform. I can't even tell you how many times on my phone I've seen, like, almost like under the featured video. You pull up YouTube, it's your feed, right? There's the featured video, there's some shorts, and then you'll see polls, you know, of like community polls of like, oh, I could just answer this question. It's a very easy way to get new people to engage with your channel, and there's a trick to doing it. You want to ask a question that is short. You don't want to have any blah, blah, blah in front of it, right? You want a short question that you put right up front so that it doesn't get truncated on mobile, okay? So ask a short question and make it the kind of question that other people would want to know the answers to, you know, because they realize that if they answer this question, they'll see what everybody else says. So make it a question they care about. You want to make it a multiple choice question because all they have to do is click once. So make it a multiple choice question, and, you know, there's I think a maximum of 5 answers. So make it multiple choice, you know, whatever A, B, C, D is. And the 5th one, or the 4th one, if it's 4, I can't remember. But the last one is always other, please comment. Because no matter what happens, you're going to think you have all 4 possible answers. No, the people are going to think of another answer. And if you get them to click other and they start typing, that's engagement. And YouTube loves engagement. Okay, and that's really good for your channel. So that's how to do polls. But I would definitely do polls. He could also very easily do, you know, selfies of he and Patty and their friends at the latest event. He could do pictures with the DJs and the promoters, and, you know, it could just be a very, very easy thing for him to do, to just kind of get an additional bunch of content going on his channel. Because in my phone screen, in my phone scroll, I see, you know, after a while, I start seeing a lot of community content. I'm gonna put Kitty down. He's going to jump on the keyboard. So definitely do that. Do not use it to self-promote, though. Don't use it to just, here's my latest video. Like, oh, go to my other thing. Oh, buy my shirt. No, 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 no. Do not use it for that. You want to use it for community polls. You want to use it for, you know, hot takes. You want to use it for behind the scenes. You want to use it for community pictures. Maybe every once in a while, maybe every 5th post, you can promote something, you know, but YouTube is typically not going to push out clearly promotional posts anyway. So it's kind of a waste of time. Okay, so yeah, that's the biggest thing missing from the presence. But here's the thing, you don't post in a vacuum as a creator, right? You have competitors. So it makes sense to take a look at the competitive landscape every once in a while to see who is up against you. Where's my window? Okay, so in his space, EDM news is a pretty obscure topic. It's very nichey. And when you do a search, you get, you know, a few things. You get this scandal from 3 years ago, 2 years ago from a big news station, and you get some club music and some more big news. And then this is an interview channel. They don't do strictly EDM. They do other celebrities as well. And then Darren's content is starting to show up right away, which is great. I mean, this is a, you know, I'm not even signed in as a Safari account, so that's good. And yeah, so there's a few channels. They're all small. And pretty much all of them are from a few years ago. So that tells you one of two things. Either nobody cares about this topic, which is a risk when you have a bunch of dead channels from years ago that are no longer doing it and they're very small, or it's an undertapped market. Now, this one here was kind of interesting. It's a small channel, but it was, and it's very old, from 7 years ago, but they had some videos with some big views. So if I were Darren, I would definitely go take a look at these other channels and just kind of see what they were doing. Even if it was a few years ago, often on YouTube, if there's an old video that did really well, there may be a way to kind of revamp, refresh, remake to kind of bring it back to life. And yeah, so that is something that I would definitely do. And then, of course, there might be other bigger channels in the scene that he reports on that he wants to follow and kind of track as competitors. And he can kind of make his own private playlist of these channels and just kind of track what they're doing. That's kind of an easy, free way to do it without paying for tools. But yeah, he is showing up in results, so that's good. What, there's a duck. Yeah, okay, that's actually a mix of popular songs. Anyway, okay, so by the way, if you want me to go deeper on any of this stuff, let's say you have a channel and you want to have an audit done and you want to go deeper and you want to have a private discussion about that, that is possible. I do one-on-one coaching. I will put the link below after the fact so that you can tap into that. Okay, let's bring it all home. Now it's been about a half hour. Let's bring it home. Let's talk about strategy going forward. I like to typically ask a question or two to go deeper. And then I like to think of a couple of quick wins here. Okay, so Darren needs to be really clear on who does he serve here. And he's in a position where he has perhaps two audiences. He has the artists and the promoters who kind of create that insider ecosystem that bring these events to life for the fans. And they're a very, very, very niche audience. And then he has the fans, which is a very wide, wide audience. And so he needs to find a way to kind of serve both of them. And the answer may be in the super fans, right? The super fans, the ones, the groupies who pay all the money to do all the VIP, to go to every show, no matter where it is in the world. You know, maybe it's the super fans and the people who aspire to be super fans. And I don't know the answer. I'm just tossing things out there. And if you guys have thoughts about this based on everything you've seen so far, definitely put them in the comments because this is a community. We can all work together to help move Darren forward to where he wants to go. So your ideas are totally welcome. But that's kind of my inclination here is that super fan who is sort of the bridge between the regular fan, because those, like, I went to one of these events, you know, Darren's a friend. I went to ABGT 500, you know, a few years ago. I think it was 2023, Gorge Amphitheater. So I kind of know what they're talking about here. And I met some of those super fans and they were so nice. Like, I like electronic music, but you know, I'm just whatever. My husband listens to it. I hear it. My kids like it, but I'm not like, I don't go to concerts or whatever. Darren brought me in. He introduced me to his super fan friends. These people were so nice. They were welcoming. They brought me in. You know, they brought me drinks. They gave me trinkets. They, you know, it was just like, wow, this is a real community. And so, I can remember a handful of them distinctly who were just like, they were the bridge. They made me want to go again to an event like this because they were just so welcoming. And of course, I love the music and all the costumes and the people and the fun and all of that. So maybe the super fan is the answer because the DJs and the venue people are going to be tied into the super fans because the super fans pay the money for the extra perks that keep them afloat, right? And the super fans bring the new people in to enlarge the audience. So that's my theory. Let me know what you think down in the comments. But he needs to get real clear on who he's serving, create that avatar, and he also needs to get clear on what is his business outcome. Now, we haven't really touched business yet, but really every YouTube channel, if it's going to last, needs to think about itself as a business. There needs to be a revenue model beyond AdSense, and especially Darren, because he sometimes is playing copyrighted music. You know, it's going to be an issue for him because he's not going to always be able to monetize a video on AdSense anyway because he's using the actual music. So you need to think about how are you going to support your business. And I know he's thinking of some things. I'm not going to really talk about that now because I don't, you know, think any of it's public or whatever. But as a creator, I'm telling you, you need to think about your business outcome. When, let's say it's the superfan, when the superfan watches this video, what is it that you want them to do that's going to support your business? And maybe your business is creating, for example, a paid membership community or a VIP club or, whatever it is. You want to be real clear about reverse engineering. What do you want the audience to feel and do as a result of seeing your videos, getting involved with your community, and being on your channel? So I would just say he needs to get real clear on that. So yeah, just to kind of give him some quick wins that he could do to kind of wrap things up here. I have a bonus page here and I forgot what it was. AI analysis. Oh, I'm not doing that. Let's skip to that. Okay, so what are some quick wins that he can do here? I would say definitely let me cheat myself here. Let's see, hold on. I'm going to look at my own channel. Quick wins. Okay, definitely I think he could rework his channel banner for a quick win. I think he could tighten up his about box for a quick win. And I think his channel trailer could be shortened. That's a little bit longer of a process because he needs to redo the video or recut it or whatever. So that's sort of a not as quick win, but definitely that channel trailer where he is, he can change the title, he can put those 2 to 3 sentences in there, and he can create a mailing list. I think that's probably the biggest quick win for this channel right now, is for him to create a mailing list so that he can start collecting these folks. In fact, I think actually, let me take that back. I know he has a mailing list because he's mailed me stuff. So what he needs to do is he needs to integrate that mailing list onto this channel here to really tie that in, because it's so important to start building the community to get them into the community and the community tab. That would probably be the other quick win. That's kind of a lot of quick wins. Sorry, Darren, I'm giving you a lot of work. That'd be a lot of quick wins. And yeah, but the community tab, definitely you want to put that out as soon as possible. That's an easy one. In fact, you can tie that into your newsletter to have people go to your community tab to take the survey to learn what it is you want to learn here. So let me, this is my first live stream. Okay, so it's going to be messy. And the next one coming up is going to be you. So if you want to apply to that, there's going to be that link below. And I need to see if there are any comments in here. Oh my gosh, there's people. Okay, this is awesome. Darren, thanks for coming. Hope it wasn't too mean. Living Alaska. Yay. Oh my gosh, Scott, so good to see you. I don't know if you're still here. I'm so sorry. I should have put this window up sooner. I'm still trying to figure out the software. Okay, let me see if I missed any questions. Yes, description needs an update. Yeah. Shorts don't matter. Got it. Yeah, Living Alaska. Algorithm equals emotional connections. That is so true. The algorithm, YouTube will tell you that the algorithm is the viewer. YouTube follows the viewer. Yes, it really is a, many algorithms, computer programs, whatever, running together to try and follow the viewer. But ultimately, it's all about the viewer. Nothing happens until the viewer shows up. In fact, YouTube does not push content for creators. It pulls content for viewers. Like I said, nothing happens until a viewer shows up. So they want that viewer to have the best experience possible. And you as a creator want your video to be the next best thing they want to watch. So yeah, emotional connection, it's all about it. I think that's why my channel is off to a slow start so far. On my regular tips I've been giving, I've kind of done a deep dive on Ask Studio, and there isn't a lot of emotional connection in that. So I think probably my next videos after I finish the Ask Studio series is going to be a little more emotional. So if you have ideas, let me know. Yeah, little sticks. I like that analogy. Yeah, so campfire, Scott, think campfire. YouTube is like going out in the wilderness and building a campfire. Well, it could be a campsite, whatever, but you've got the ring, right? And you have to start with the little piece of lint and the match, and then you've got to have the pine needles. Yeah, and then you got to have a little tower of sticks, and then you got to light it, and then you got to make sure the wind doesn't blow it out, and you got to kind of fuss over it. That's how new channels are. And then, it may blow out if the wind gusts, you got to start over. And, you have to build it slowly. You can't just throw a log on there, like I said, and it's going to extinguish. But, bit by bit, the sticks get bigger and bigger and bigger. And then by the time you've built it up with some decent logs, you've got some momentum and you can walk away for a week and not worry that it's all going to go to hell in a handbasket. So yeah, it's all about momentum. YouTube is about momentum. Yeah, don't worry about the Darren, don't the gorge content. Your fear when the gorge content ends. The gorge is seasonal. It's a seasonal aspect of your channel. People probably start thinking about it in, I'm not sure when it's going to be, February, March, April, I don't know, but it's seasonal, like camping is seasonal or other channels have seasonal factors, baseball, sports, whatever. You just have to know that you're going to have a gorge season and you're going to talk about the gorge probably from half the year, from spring until the thing happens either in the summer or the fall. And that's just going to be something that you can use to bring in people. But what are the other seasonal factors that you can think about for those fall and winter months? Like what's happening in the EDM world that's seasonal? I mean, do these guys have winter fests? Do they shut down for the winter? I know gardening channels, for example, they really kind of struggle with this because people ramp up in February and they go hot through the summer and fall. And then for winter, they kind of die. And so they've had to come up with strategies for dealing with that, which is typically around planning and big projects and winter things, winter potatoes or squash or whatever winter vegetables they grow. So think about the seasonality factor and how you can weave that into your winter season. But yeah, so eliminate the podcast tab. Darren, I don't think you can eliminate the podcast tab. I think if you designate your interviews as a podcast, which I do recommend because YouTube does give it additional distribution in other places through that tab, it's just going to be there and you can't do anything about it. So at this point, I think it's more important for you to be discovered as a podcast and just deal with the extra tab than it is to not call it a podcast, if you know what I mean. I think right now that's what makes the most sense. Okay, Scott says, I tried vertical streaming a few times recently. At 4 minutes, it gets pushed. It's a different, oh, interesting. It's a different audience and definitely has potential strategy. Picked up 14 subscribers over 2 vertical lives. High fives for that. That's awesome. Yeah, I am honestly terrified of live stream, and I'm super happy to see that the software is working because, like I said, this is my first time. Haven't tried vertical yet. I've thought about it. I've actually thought about it for Ask Studio Tips because every day that I go in there and I try something new, I find a new little thing that it does. Like, oh my gosh, for example, it can do all my timestamps for me, or oh wow, it just told me what my competitors are talking about or whatever the thing is. I mean, I was thinking about how I could just do, vertical live on that might be a way to drum up some traffic. So yeah, I love that you're trying that. I know for a time when vertical lives came out for shorts, YouTube was pushing it really hard and it was kind of an inside way to just kind of, get ahead of the game, but I don't know that they're doing that anymore. So try it. YouTube is like a science experiment at all times where the variables are always changing. So you got to keep testing and noting what happens, which I know you're good at. Okay. I don't know if you can still handle an audit of my mess anymore. Yeah, I can. I absolutely can. It's, if you want to change channels, let me know, but I'll do it. Okay, yep, DJs and promoters, fans, and yeah, agree. Okay, you've got the two. You do have a mailing list, yes. So we need to tie that in. So Darren, you should be thinking of a lead magnet that would get the, you know, if you're targeting the super fans or whoever, whoever the avatar is, and I know it's hard to pick one, but pick the avatar. What would they care about? Maybe the super fans already know what the summer schedule is, so maybe there's something else. Maybe it's the guide to whatever. Actually, ChatGPT and all the AIs are really good at coming up with lead magnet ideas. So you can just type in, I do this kind of channel and they care about these things. Give me 25 ideas for lead magnets, and it'll spit out a bunch of them, and there might be a seed of an idea in there. Yes, community tab. Yes, yes, yes. Do the community tab and about the seasonal content. Unfortunately, there's enough events in the fall and winter to talk about locally. Okay, cool. That's really cool. So on your content calendar, definitely think in terms of seasons and what you can be talking about then, and just realize that it's so normal for channels to have seasonal traffic. So there are going to be some channels that are just hot and heavy in the spring and summer, and then they die out in the winter, but then they come back, and that's normal. And you can, this is, I know you're not really into the analytics, but you can ask Studio to look at things year over year or month over month, or like, for example, you can ask it about its seasonality. Heck, you might have enough data. I don't know if your channel's a year old yet. So if it's not a year old, it's not going to have a lot of data. But for anyone else out there, if you want to find out about the seasonality on your channel, you can totally ask Studio about it, and it's going to come back with some kind of analysis. Anyway, okay, 45 minutes. Thank you so much for anyone who watches this. Most people will probably see it on the replay. Thank you to Scott and Darren, who showed up with no promotion whatsoever.